All right, let's get into a description here of all the tools and supplies that you're going to need to accumulate before you begin your epoxy coating project. In this video segment, you're going to find all the tools that we prefer to use. We'll be able to give you a blow-by-blow description of those tools with dimensions and brand names. A lot of these things you may have just even in your own possession currently, and a lot of them you can just rent, and or they're very inexpensive to purchase at your local hardware store. Your investment's going to be relatively small when it comes to the tools themselves. Your supplies, likewise, very minimal. So we'll go into detail about those supplies, how to use them, the application of them, and how they're going to be beneficial to give you a nice, neat, clean job on your epoxy coating project. We'll go into detail of all of these elements in the foregoing footage with the snapshots and video footage of using the tools and supplies in this epoxy coatings training course. Okay, my do-it-yourselfer friends, let's just dive right into it. This is a brief snapshot of all the tools that you'll be collecting prior to your epoxy project. This is going to be an essential to getting your floor prepped if you're doing a horizontal surface. This always gives the profile that you need to be able to get the epoxy to bond and give you good engineering for it to adhere to. This is the sandpaper that we recommend that you use. The 12 grit seems to give it just enough of a profile that it gives a good bite, and you get super good adhesion with this kind of a roughing. This is a 7-inch angle grinder that comes in handy if you've got a lot of irregularities on your concrete that you don't want to reflect through your epoxy coating. It's a quick, easy way to be able to get it off quickly. This is a 5-gallon bucket. You'll be using a couple of these when you mix up all of your color flakes if you're using chips in your epoxy coating. This is a 2-gallon bucket. This is what we're going to be mixing the epoxy in when we combine the both A and the B components of the epoxy. This is a 2.5 quart measuring cup. You'll be using this to measure out 1 quart of water to put into your epoxy. You'll be using this 24 by 48 inch piece of cardboard to help shield the floor and a wall application. You'll see how we do this in the application process. This is a 12-inch taping trowel they use typically doing sheetrock, but we use this to help us clean off the color chips off the wall really super quick. This is a 12-inch metal paint tray. And this is the liner that goes in it. We use the liners because they're cheap and easy to use and throw away and not have to clean the metal portion of the tray out. This is our preferred roller frame and cover, this 12-inch roller frame and the 6-inch roller cover that go together. These are just the most effective for doing tight spots that we'll be demonstrating in applying the epoxy coating and the clear coat. This is an extension cord that you'll need. You can use any extension cord. It doesn't have to be a 100-foot one. It's essential to have a leaf blower so that you can clean your surface off before applying the epoxy. This 24-inch broom will be handy to get all of the bulky and heavy stuff swept up and cleaned from your surface, and then this will help you to get corners and edges a lot better by using a hand table brush. A square mouth shovel is always essential for helping you in the cleanup process. This 12-inch floor scraper also is going to be handy to get any irregularities off of your surface in a real quick and easy way. This 1.5-inch painter's tool is handy to get things off that are maybe superficial by hand in any corners or edges. Along with this 3-inch putty knife also, you can use these universally together. And then we use this 6-inch by 1.5-inch margin trowel to scrape out our buckets of material when we're mixing them. We recommend that you use a shop vac for cleaning up the dust and any of the accumulated particles from doing the sanding. This will help you get it ready for you to mop up after you get all of the dusting cleaned off your surface. This will be the drill and its mixer that you'll be using in combination to mixing up your part A and B of epoxy as well as the clear coat. We like to use this 16-inch by 3.5-inch grout mixer to do that with. We prefer the cordless just simply because you don't have to plug it in. This is a 12-inch hand masker that will be essentially a part of your tools that you want to do the masking with around the perimeter. Here's a 5-gallon mop bucket. This is what you'll use as well to be able to clean up after you've done all the sanding. This is the mop that's going along with the bucket there, so you can clean up all of the dust and debris and make sure that you get everything off of the surface that you've ground down. This will be a brush that you're going to use. You'll see demonstrated to do the vertical portion of your project if you have foundation walls. This is a paint roller pole, and you'll attach that directly here to the 18-inch adjustable roller frame. This will be an essential tool as well. The coating cleats are absolutely a necessity to be able to get out onto the wet epoxy to cast in your color chips. Here's a set of knee pads if it is that you need knee pads. That makes it more comfortable to get down onto the concrete and do the vertical portion of your project. This dust mask is sufficient to working in your environment that you're going to be doing, but if you are a little more prone and sensitive to other smells, then these carbon-filled respirators are a great way to go if you want to really safeguard any emissions in the atmosphere or dust. And ear guards are helpful if you want to protect your ears from the sounds and the noise of any power tools. And then lastly is to collect all of the supplies that will be necessary for your epoxy project. Get these things all lined up and then you're ready to go. The cotton rags are always handy to have in case of spills or just to have on hand for any cleanups. You can choose between 3 different types of hand coverings. These nitrile gloves work great. These leather gloves also work great, or rubber gloves. So whatever your preference is, gloves aren't a necessity, just for what it's worth. The 12 by 12 tarp's always handy to have to keep your space clean to work off of, so you don't, if you have any spills, it's easy to keep it contained. This masking paper that's a construction contractor's grade is a green masking paper that is pretty common that you can find in most paint supply stores. This will be an essential part of getting your walls prepped. This Scotch tape, the 2-inch to mask with, is also essentially a component to go along with the 12-inch construction paper. You can use frog tape if you want for little corners and turns and different tight spots. This is also very highly recommended. And then your roller cover that's going to be an essential part of your supplies. This is a 3/8-inch nap roller cover. And then this will also, you'll see demonstrated being an essential part of applying all of the coatings, 18-inch by 3/8-inch nap roller cover. And last but not least, the 4-inch paintbrush. You'll see how we utilize this on the end of a 6-foot pole to be able to do our edges and control joints. So this concludes segment 3 of the epoxy training course, where we've just gone over and reviewed for you all the tools and supplies that you will need to be prepared with to do your epoxy coating course. Hope you've enjoyed this segment and it's been educational for you and it's been fun for you, and hopefully to the point so that there's not too much time spent in being educated on this process.